Did you know that AWS can run out of resources? What would happen if you want to scale out your application, but suddenly AWS says, I cannot provide you with more resources? Stick with me while we dive into AWS capacity reservation. Okay, so this is a project for solution architect professional. Capacity reservation is one of the topics that you will probably find in the exam. So here's the problem. You're working as a cloud engineer for a company with an e-commerce application. With Black Friday approaching, many companies will be scaling their infrastructure to handle the increased traffic, which could lead to AWS running out of capacity. Your challenge is to ensure your application remains available all the time and you can scale when needed in a cost-efficient way. So you have some options that you need to choose one of them. Number one, use on-demand instances. Basically, if AWS is running out of capacity, you are not allowed anymore to create on-demand instances. So that's not an option. Use spot instances. Number two, well, AWS can terminate spot instances whenever they need it. So it's not an option. Number three, use reserved instances one zone. This is a good option because reserved instances in one zone can provision and can reserve the capacity of what you're going to build, what kind of instance you're going to build in a particular zone, and you will be able to run that instance for the entire period of your contract. So basically it's going to be 1 year up to 3 years. But that is not cost efficient because for the reserve instance, you are chained to the contract or to the subscription for 1 to 3 years. So you probably will need to pay all of that. So number four, use reserved instances regional. This isn't either a cost-efficient way and it does not provide you ability to reserve the capacity. And number five is use capacity reservations. And this is the solution. Let's see the architecture overview of what we're going to deploy right now. So we have an autoscaling group with EC2 spot instances inside the subnet inside of a VPC. Since it is an e-commerce application, it is stateless and it is connected with a database, so it does not need the always availability on the instances. Just to save cost, we have specified it using spot instances. Now, Black Friday is coming. We need to make sure that AWS saves some capacity for us when the traffic increases in our application. So what we're going to do is reserve some capacity using capacity reservation serve on EC2 and change all of our EC2 instances to use EC2 on demand. This is because using capacity reservation, AWS says that you're not allowed to use EC2 spot instances for that, only on demand. And what AWS does is that whenever you reserve the capacity, then at that time you will start spending on the same instance that you provision. Either if you have started your instance yet or not, then the capacity reservations start consuming money. But it reserves the capacity when needed. So in case you change your instances from EC2 spot to on-demand, then you will pay only for the instance. So capacity reservation, let's say that the cost of the capacity reservation will link together with the EC2 on-demand instance and will be as one. So let's see how the Terraform code looks like for the project. Main.tf. What we have here is a simple Terraform code to provision some autoscaling group. First of all, we need some configuration of the network. So we're going to use the module of VPC from the public module, and we do not need any NAT gateway or VPN gateway. So we make them false. I've specified a variable called the reserve capacity, which is a Boolean, and the default value is false. So through the entire year, it's going to be false, and right near the Black Friday, we are going to change it on true. What we have here is that I've created some security group and launch template for the EC2 instances. I specified the network and also the image ID. Now, in case this variable is true, it's going to create the capacity reservation. And I've specified on the autoscaling group that in case this is true, it will override the configuration of the instances using the second launch template. So basically, I have created another launch template only for the capacity reservation to target the one that we will create. Now, what will happen is that if we go to the diagram, if we specify it as false, it will create the EC2 spot instances, and right after we change it true, then it will create the capacity reservation and change all the Autoscaling Group instances to on-demand. So let's start with the deployment. Terminal, let's go to capacity reservation, Terraform init, and Terraform validate. And apply. Risk it. So 25 resources to add. You can specify the reserve capacity as false, as I did in the variables auto-df vars, and the region we are using is US East 1. The instance type is going to be T3 nano. So those were the instances that I tried before this video, and let's see how it goes. So in the capacity reservation, there is not created anything at the moment. This was the old one. And as we see, an autoscaling group is created. Desired capacity is 3, and it uses the latest AMI for the Amazon Linux 3 in North Virginia. As we see the instances, 3 of them are initialized. We can see the type of instances, that one of them is normal because I've specified the on-demand minimum on-demand instances are going to be 1, and 2 of them are spot instances. So at least one instance is up and running. So the instances are up and running, everything works as usual. Black Friday has come. What we need right now is that we provision some capacity reservation so others cannot fill all the capacity that AWS has. So what we're going to do is go to the Terraform configuration and change it as from false to true. We do a Terraform plan. Of course, this is going to be one day before, so not in the day of the Black Friday. And probably if you're using some pipeline, you can schedule the pipeline to be deployed in midnight. So yeah, that's one option. We're going to create 2 resources and 2 of them are going to change. So let's see what we'll create. So a reservation capacity that we are going to use and the launch template for this capacity reservation. We will change, I believe this is just for the tags, is not one of them. And the autoscaling group is going to change. The launch template will override with the new launch template that we will create. So Terraform apply, auto approve, and let's go to the launch template and see what we'll create. So launch template, we see that it created one other. So it created 2 launch templates. Let's see the reserved one. We can see that on the advanced details, the capacity reservation is specified. If we go to the capacity reservation, then we can see the old one that I destroyed before, and also the one that we are just creating right now. At the moment, it specifies only 1 instance as utilized, because it was the on-demand instance that we provisioned before. Now, let's see on the instances itself what it will do. So one of the instances that was spot instance is destroyed and it's creating another one. The one is normal, so basically it's on-demand instance. And slowly, in a period of 5 to 10 minutes, it will destroy all the instances one by one, and all of them are going to get created using this capacity reservation. As we can see, down below, it is the capacity reservation ID, which is the same as the capacity reservation that we have created. So from this time, then you basically have reserved the capacity. You're paying only for what you're using, so only for the pricing of T3 nano instances for 3 of them, and you're not spending any money such as provisioning reserved instance for 1 to 3 years. So this is the cheapest and most cost-efficient way to provision and reserve the capacity when needed. So as we can see, the 3 instances are up and running, all of them are on demand, and all of them are using the capacity reservation. We can see that the utilization is going to be 100%. Since we reserved only 3 instances, 3 of them are used, and it's going to be 100. So what we're going to do to not cause any more spending, then capacity reservation and Terraform Destroy. Yes, so recap time. As you saw, we managed to deploy an Autoscaling Group using spot instances, and when Black Friday comes, we managed to reserve the capacity in case AWS runs out of it. If you're learning for the Solution Architect Professional, you probably would need to know the EC2 pricing options, such as on-demand, spot instance, and reserve, and the feature of capacity reservation. And this project was one of them. And in case you missed my latest video, you have one right here and one right here. Like and subscribe, and ring that bell notification. Ciao, ciao.